is John Colo with DiscountJuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you. It's always a fun day here at Discount Juicers when we get a brand new kitchen appliance that allows you to include more fresh fruits and vegetables in your diet. And what we got today is not a juicer, it's not a blender, it's a professional food dehydrator by Aroma. Now we sell three other major brand of food dehydrators, including the Liquip brand, which is a bottom airflow. We also sell the Sedona brand dehydrator, which is a rear airflow. And of course, the tried and true Excalibur brand dehydrator, that's been out on the market for so many years now and is pretty much the gold standard in dehydrators. So I'm always glad when there's another, rear airflow unit that's maybe almost as high quality as the Excalibur that's going to compete with it. A lot of the dehydrators I test, I simply do not choose to offer at Discount Juicers because they have uneven drying, because I've tested them in-house and the temperature gets too hot, and you lose the enzymes. I've also used dehydrators that are made out of plastic trays and the trays melt and the unit burns out, after just a little over a year. And then guess what? They all have 1-year warranties, right? And then you're SOL, you're screwed basically, and you got to buy a brand new dehydrator. So I do not want that to happen to you guys. So that's why I encourage you guys to order a dehydrator from us that has a long warranty. And that's one of the proud things I'm happy to say with the Aroma brand dehydrator. It has a low price but a 5-year warranty, which is the minimum term that I would recommend you look for in a dehydrator. I mean, unlike a juicer or a blender that you use, you use those for maybe a half hour at a time, 15 minutes at a time. But the dehydrator stays on continuously, sometimes for 24 hours continuously, and you got to make sure you get a good one, otherwise things can go awry. Also, because it is being used so much, the fan's spinning a lot more, and these better be heavy-duty, durable parts that's going to last you and your family a while so that you can continue to include some of these delicious dehydrated foods in your diet. So anyways, let's go ahead and open the box up. But before we do, I want to go over some of the features that are stated on the box here. This is a professional design. So by professional, I probably believe they mean like the rear airflow design. There's no professional dehydrators that have basically a bottom heat source like many of the cheap ones out there, because these promote uneven drying. If you think about it, heat rises, and the trays on the bottom near the heat source always get hotter than the ones on the top, which means you'll have to rotate, the trays so that they can have even drying. One of the things that I know about the rear airflows is, provided they're a good rear airflow and get good air circulation, they push the air and create a good heat, you don't really have to rotate your trays, so I like that a lot. This also has an extra large capacity, so this is a 6-tray dehydrator. And that's about a medium-sized dehydrator. This would be good for, a single person, a couple, and maybe a family that doesn't eat a whole lot of dehydrated food. Of course, my main use for my dehydrator is preserving my harvest from the garden. And then at that point, I need like the full 10-tray Excalibur stainless steel dehydrator that I use in my personal home. Let's see here. It has even drying. It also has a lasting durability, 5-year warranty once again. And it's a 5-year warranty, and this is BPA free right on the box, and that is an important feature to many of you guys. Let's go ahead and turn this guy around and show you guys some of the additional features here. The temperature control is adjustable from 95 to 155 degrees. So this is very important for people that are into living and raw foods diet, so that you can preserve all the enzymes. It's said that enzymes start to degrade at 118 degrees, and many dehydrators still to this day do not have adjustable thermostats. So when you dehydrate in this dehydrator, I would recommend you set the control knob at about 105 degrees, because most dehydrators have a temperature shift of about 10 degrees. So this will assure that you're going to have the highest quality, most nutritious dehydrated foods. In addition, it has a nice air vent at the top of the machine to let some of that moisture escape. And then over here it has 6 adjustable drying trays for all types of food, which we will look at in a minute. It also includes a drip tray, and I don't know why other companies do not include a drip tray. It seems like a really easy item for them to include, and it'll make cleanup so much easier. I've spend hours and hours and hours scrubbing the bottom of my Excalibur of all the crust that drips down because they do not provide a drip tray. Okay, and it also has a clear door that's removable that does not just simply, you know, get placed on. It actually slides in, so it's nice and firm, and also it's clear, so you can actually see through and not have to open up the dehydrator unless what you're dehydrating is completely finished. Let's see, finally, all the accessories are removable for easy cleanup. I do like that a lot. It also has a temperature control knob and the on and off switch, and of course you can remove all the trays and ferment things like yogurts, make your own natto, and even help some fermented foods out by giving them the proper temperature in the dehydrator with the removable trays. This is not possible on the round or square bottom airflow dehydrators. Alright, and here are just some of the things you can do with your Aroma Food Dehydrator. Chewy fruit leathers, savory beef jerky or other types of jerky, sweet dried fruit, flavor packed dried herbs, spicy dried chili, sun-dried veggies. You could also make things like flax crackers, flax chips, tortilla chips, you know, raw vegan tortilla shells. I mean, pies, cakes, cookies, and candies all in the dehydrator with adjustable thermostat to keep your foods as raw as possible. All right, I'm so excited. Let's go ahead and open up this dehydrator and find out what comes inside. All right, so let's check out what's inside. All right, the first thing we're gonna get is an instruction manual, quick start guide, and product registration. And it's always good to read the instruction manual to learn how to use it. I'm happy to say that this dehydrator is very simple, very easy to use. Basically, I would wash it first, wash all the components, you know, and then start dehydrating your food in it. You know, literally cut your food up, put it in there, turn it on, set it at 105, and forget about it until like the next day and come back and all your food will be dehydrated. So yeah, let's go ahead and get this baby out and show you guys what it looks like. All right, so here's the dehydrator as it comes in the box. Let's go ahead and take this plastic off here. Show you guys what this baby looks like. So yeah, this pretty much resembles an Excalibur dehydrator, but it has a cool thing that most standard Excaliburs do not have. That's actually a clear door, so I like that a lot. So you can actually look in and you know, see what's going on inside the dehydrator. Now, another feature that it has actually is right up top there. As you guys can see, there's an adjustable thermostat control, so you can adjust it from 95 degrees all the way up to 155 degrees. Nice, easy, like rheostat. Of course, you have your illuminated on-off switch, so that's really cool. It also gives you a temperature guide here with how hot you should dehydrate different items you will be dehydrating. Now, I recommend actually do not follow the chart here. You'll probably be heating some items too hot. You know, especially the vegetables and the fruits, I do recommend, once again, and things like flax, crackers, and other raw food treats, you're gonna wanna do at 105. Now, one of the negatives to dehydrating at a lower temperature is that you will increase the dehydration time, so it may not be done as quickly, but you will have a much more nutritious product in the end, and I like that a lot. So let's go ahead and turn this guy around. So, oh, check it out. Also, on the top, there's a little vent, and I don't know why other dehydrator companies don't do this, because heat rises and the moisture will rise with the heat. You know, this will allow the dehydrator to vent out the moisture out through the top instead of condensate on the roof. In addition, on the back here, it has a nice metal panel here, and it has a polarized plug. This plug and the cord is rather short. It's about maybe 4 feet. And this is actually ETL listed, so that's good. Let's go ahead and turn this baby around and show you guys the inside of this dehydrator. We're going to go ahead and slide up this door. It has a nice handle on it. Nice clear doors. You can see what is going on the inside. And these are all the different trays that come in the dehydrator. Basically, these trays are 12 inches by 13 inches, and then you have a little drop down for a ½ inch on either side, so you don't get that much usable space. And these are made out of the non-BPA material. And in the dehydrator, you will get 6 of these trays, as well as 1 mesh sheet for dehydrating smaller fruits, seeds, and things that would normally, you know, fall through the tray material itself. I think they should have included, you know, more of these guys. But you know, what I've been using lately instead of something like this is I'd use some standard parchment paper so that things will not fall through. Parchment paper is also very thin, so the heat can still penetrate and help to dehydrate things put on the parchment paper. Now, one of the things that is not included with this dehydrator is the non-stick sheets. We sell the PrimaFlex non-stick sheets as an additional accessory that you can purchase and basically cut to fit this dehydrator if you do want the non-stick sheets. Of course, the final thing included in the dehydrator is that handy dandy drip tray. I mean, this is a simple piece of plastic that you basically just slide on the bottom so that all the drips don't drip to the bottom of the machine, because that's going to be hard to clean with all the different the bracing and whatnot they have. So this is very handy, and I like that they included this. This kind of shows me that the manufacturer's kind of thinking ahead and trying to help the consumer out. Now, if we look straight to the back, if you guys can see that, check it out. You guys can see the fan assembly, and behind the fan assembly is the heating assembly. One of the things I like about this dehydrator, unlike other, inexpensive dehydrators that have a rear airflow, is that this dehydrator has a nice large fan. If you look at that, that fan almost encompasses, 75% of the back panel. So what this means this is going to have a very powerful airflow, so it's going to hit all the trays. Some of the other rear airflow dehydrators I've seen have, weaker fans, smaller fans that just do not push enough air, which means it's going to increase the dehydration time. I'm confident to say that in this dehydrator, due to the large fan and hopefully a nice heating element behind it, pushing a lot of air, it's going to ensure you have quick dehydration times. Now, I haven't run a dehydration test between this and an Excalibur, but I'm sure this will compete fairly well with the Excalibur on the times. Let's see here. I guess that's pretty much it on the inside. I mean, it's pretty basic on the inside. So now I want to show you guys this real quick. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera. It's kind of hard to see. Maybe from this side you guys could see it. But while there is only included 6 trays, and this is being sold as a 6-tray dehydrator, there's actually space for 12 trays in here. This is amazing. So if you're really a finagler, you could really fit 12 trays in, although only 6 are included. So you have to order extra trays from the manufacturer. And this is how it works. So say you put a tray, like every other space, you're going to leave a hole, and then that's going to leave you a nice amount of space to put, nice, wide, tall things in. And let's next go ahead and measure the height between the trays when set up for using only 6 trays. All right, so now we got good old standard tape measure, and the spacing in between the trays on these guys are approximately 1 inch top to top of tray, but then each tray has a drop down of about, I'd say about 3/8 of an inch. So you have basically 1 3/8 of an inch between the trays at the mild setting. So if you want to try to max out your dehydrator, you could probably try to get one up on the top. If you put something super thin, like thinly sliced bananas, you might be able to get that in there and still dehydrate in there. And then you can maybe put a tray here, then maybe skip one, put a tray there, then you could maybe put a tray right there, right there, right there. And this way you could easily add like 1 extra tray, maybe 2 extra trays fairly easily, and have more room in your dehydrator to dehydrate. So I really like that they did this in this dehydrator so that you have ultimate flexibility. Now say you want to dehydrate your yogurt in a mason jar, right? You could simply take out a lot of these trays and put the yogurt jar, the mason jar, in the bottom to stand up tall. Say you want to dehydrate, or more appropriately, warm up a raw food casserole. You could drop this tray down to here, you can put a nice big bowl in here, and it's going to warm up. Now, it's not going to dehydrate, but it will warm up your food if you want to eat food that's a little bit warmer, but still maintaining the raw food temperature of under 118 degrees. Yeah, so this dehydrator, so far, so good. Looks pretty good. What I'd like to do next for you guys, actually, I'm going to go ahead and get some stuff dehydrated, show you guys how easy it is to dehydrate, but more importantly, also let you know how loud this dehydrator is, because that's a big problem on some of the other brand dehydrators. Some of the Excaliburs, they shake and they rattle and they make a lot of noise. So I'm really curious to hear if this one's quieter or louder than the current Excaliburs, including the 4 tray and the 5 tray. Because once again, this is a 6 tray and it's kind of competing with those guys, but at a lower price point to boot. So now I'm ready to dehydrate in the Aroma 6 tray Professional Food Dehydrator. One of the easiest things you guys can dehydrate, and I encourage you guys to dehydrate, are fresh fruits. You know, if you go to buy dried fruits in the store, they actually get quite expensive. I mean, organic dried apples, I don't know, sometimes it could run like $10 a pound, but literally, you know, these organic apples were 99 cents a pound. I could now make my own dehydrated apples for a fraction of the cost. Even more so, you know, you can't even buy things like dehydrated oranges, which have an amazing flavor you could add to make cakes and pies, and recipes look phenomenal. Put one on your salad for, I mean, some eye candy, literally. They are so beautiful. You can even use them for decorations and making earrings and art projects after you dehydrate them. I mean, besides just making fruits, you can make your own potpourris and all different kinds of cool stuff in the dehydrator. Now, of course, dehydrating fruit wouldn't be dehydrating fruit with dehydrating one of America's favorite fruits, the banana. You know, if you go to buy banana chips in the store, they are fried, baby. I mean, they are deep fried in oil. Normally, it's a genetically modified oil, you know, such as canola oil or some soybean oil, and they're fried, and that is not good for us. It's much better to dehydrate your own so they're not nice, soft, pliable, and chewy. 10 times better than any kind of candy bar, because literally it is just 100% fruit with the water content removed. Now, I do encourage you guys to rehydrate your dried fruit or minimally drink water with your dried fruit to get some hydration when you're eating some of this delicious dried goodness. Now, of course, the other thing that you can do with the dehydrator is you can dehydrate things that money cannot buy, or that'd be very hard to find. And we're going to do that today because we're going to dry some of this stuff, which is fresh jackfruit. So for those of you guys that haven't had jackfruit before, if you've had juicy fruit chewing gum, right? Jackfruit is the fruit that they got the flavor of juicy fruit chewing gum. So technically it should be called jackfruit chewing gum. And this jackfruit is amazing. It tastes literally like bubble gum in a fruit. So I'm really curious to see how it will dehydrate in the Aroma dehydrator. So anyways, the main thing to remember when dehydrating any fruit is we can't just put a whole apple in there and expect it to dehydrate. We got to cut it into thin slices. So I want to encourage you guys, you know, the thinner the slice you cut, the faster your dehydration will be done. The fatter the slice, you know, you cut, the longer it's going to take for dehydration. And actually, I do not recommend cutting things too fat or too thick, because then the inside of whatever you're dehydrating may never dehydrate and not get completely dry. And in the end result will be mold and your product spoiling. So it's very important to cut them to a nice thin width. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to go ahead and simply take this apple, and I'm going to cut this into nice little, maybe like, I don't know, a little less than 1/4 inch pieces. I mean, it's very simple, very easy. You could get something like a mandolin to help you to make, you know, perfect slices every single time at the, you know, right thickness. I'm just going to go ahead and do this by hand. Normally I do a fairly good job. So I mean, this is a fairly good size, thickness, if you guys could see there. And simply to dehydrate, all we need to do is simply put this single file on the tray. Alright, so that's our apple all ready to dehydrate. Let's next go for the orange. So we're going to go ahead and cut the ends off the orange, because, you know, we don't really want to eat too much peel or the pith of the orange. But what we do want to get is we want to get that brilliant orange color in the middle. These are going to turn out amazing in the dehydrator. I mean, they're just so pretty and so beautiful. And plus, after you dehydrate these, you can eat them, and it's going to give you like a nice orange flavor, and the skin is going to give you like that hint of like zest, like orange zest, man. It's really cool. Alright, so we're cutting this, and got the last one cut. And let's go ahead and throw these on the other side of the tray with the apples. Alright. Yeah, once again, try to cut them fairly thin, and that's the thickness there. Wow, literally with just 2 fruits, I almost filled up this entire tray here. So we're gonna go ahead and put that baby in there. Next, let's go ahead and take out a next tray and load this guy up. I think we'll just put a few pieces of jackfruit because I love to eat this stuff fresh, but I want to put some in here, you know, just to see how it's going to work, you know, in the dehydrator. So we'll maybe just put maybe like a row of jackfruit in here. All right, of course, next we cannot forget the bananas. So I want to encourage you guys to pick up bananas at your local health food store. You know, I encourage you guys to get organic ones because the non-organic ones are sprayed with a fungicide after they're harvested, which is not optimal in my opinion. The organic ones are not treated in this post-harvest technique. And you can buy them when they're ripe, usually for, you know, very inexpensive. These organic bananas were 49 cents because they're in the overripe box, but these, to me, when they're spotted up, are perfectly ripe and perfect for dehydration, because you want to dehydrate as ripe a fruit as you can because they're sweeter, and when they're sweeter going in, that means they're sweeter coming out of the dehydrator as well. So we're just going to take one of these bananas, we're going to peel it, and we're going to go ahead and very simply and easily, you know, take our knife, our cutting board, and once again just cut this up into small little pieces. Oh, they're rolling away. Alright, and once we got these cut up, we're just going to go ahead, once again, place these on the dehydrator to allow them to get dehydrated. Now, one of the things I like to do is you want to make sure that there's like a little bit of space in between, you know, each piece of fruit. You don't want them exactly touching because then the air cannot circulate all the way around and encompass the fruit to help it to get evenly dry. So I want to encourage you guys to leave some extra space to allow proper dehydration. This will also decrease your dehydration time. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put this cover on, and I want you guys to listen very carefully. Set it at 105. Wow, so to me, that's a very quiet dehydrator. Now, maybe not as quiet as a Sedona dehydrator that has, you know, fans that don't run super fast, but this is definitely quieter than the Excalibur for those of you guys that, you know, read a lot of reviews about the Excalibur, how it can be kind of loud. So this is definitely quieter. I guess the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let this run a while overnight, and we'll be back at you, tomorrow when all our stuff is dehydrated. Alright, we're back. So I'm so excited to check out the Aroma Dehydrator and see how everything has dehydrated. I mean, this thing has been running constantly, non-stop for 12 hours. All the food inside there hopefully should be dehydrated. I mean, the outside of the case is definitely nice and warm. I could feel the heat coming out of the top. Definitely warm on the back panel, so you're going to want to like space this, you know, I don't know, a couple good 4 or 5 inches away from a wall, anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and take off the top tray, and so besides just the jackfruit and bananas and apples and oranges, I also decided to make some kale chips. One of my favorite things to eat. Now, if you go buy kale chips in the store, they could cost you like $5.99 for literally 2 ounces of kale chips, and they are super simple, super easy to make. Literally, we just took some organic kale and I blended up some bell peppers with some young coconut meat, some sunflower seeds, some taco seasoning, and pasted them on, and now we have some kale chips ready to eat too. So first I want to show you guys the jackfruit. So you guys saw the jackfruit going in. This is what it looks like coming out, and let me go ahead and taste this for you guys. Really nice consistency. If you've had like dried apricots without sulfur, that's kind of like the texture. It's nice and chewy, but really packs a flavor punch. I mean, I think I prefer my jackfruit fresh instead of dehydrated, but I'm really amazed. I mean, look at the vibrant color that the Aroma Dehydrator, you know, just preserved without adding any kind of sulfides or anything like that. Next, let's move on to the banana chips. So here are the banana chips as they're coming out of the dehydrator. Nice and pliable, you know. If you want them like rock hard so that they're crispy, that would be more difficult. You'd probably have to just run the dehydrator continuous for like a couple days to get all the moisture out of it. And it's very important, you know, when pulling the food out of the dehydrator, you want to make sure, you know, most of the moisture is out of it. If they're still kind of like a little bit wet, like these are a little bit wet, like I probably would pull them out and eat them, but I wouldn't just take them and put them into a jar or like a freezer bag to store them. Nice airtight container that air can't get in and there's no holes, you know. It'd be best to store it in, like, for longest storability, I would take it and put it in like a mason jar with a lid and put a food saver lid attachment and suck out all the air, and then put it in a nice dark closet. That way your dehydrated food could easily last 6 months. But I know once you try it, wow. These bananas are simply amazing. Better than any other dried banana I've ever tasted, because I did it myself. Dehydrated quickly, dehydrated evenly, all in the Aroma Professional Food Dehydrator. All right, next let me show you guys the oranges. I mean, this is super cool. Look at how these oranges dehydrate. I mean, these are so beautiful. And we're gonna go ahead, well, you could eat the skin, the peel and all. I'm just gonna go ahead and crack this in half. I'm just gonna eat the middle. Wow. Tastes like oranges without the water. I mean, that'd be good to add like some nice orange flavor. I could see maybe, you know, you could use this to put in a tea, for example, rehydrate with water, or put this in water to make a flavored orange water. Because the flavors, wow. They really come out. They're really, I mean, that's the thing. The dehydration process concentrates the flavor, so that's why I like to, you know, do sun-dried tomatoes in the dehydrator. I'll take when I have so many tomatoes ripe in my garden, or when I get a deal on them at the farmer's market, and I'll dehydrate them. It intensifies the flavor, and then I'll just have to add a few of those tomatoes to a sauce, a dressing, or other recipes to really get a nice flavor punch of tomatoes. All right, next on to the apples. Look at how beautiful these apples look. You know, they're not all like gnarly looking like the ones you'd get at the store, all discolored. I mean, I didn't add anything. I mean, if you want to add something, you could add lemon juice, like a lemon juice spray to the apples and to the bananas, so that they retain more of their beautiful color. But I think, you know, this dehydrator has worked fast enough so that it didn't oxidize that much before dehydrating, so you're going to preserve most of the nutrition inside. You go ahead and wow. These taste like the dehydrated apples my parents used to get me because they were hippies back in the day. Like, they don't make them like this anymore, man. Sun-dried, naturally, in the dehydrator. So delicious, wow. I recommend, you know, if you got kids, you want to definitely buy one of these dehydrators and make these, give them to your kids for lunch every day, the dehydrated fruits. Of course, fresh fruits would be better. But let me tell you, if they're stuck on candy and really like a powerful sweet punch, the dried bananas, the dried apples, I mean, they're super sweet and super delicious. Wow. All right, now on to the creme de la creme, which is my kale chips. So I made all these little kale chips here. I'm gonna go ahead and try them now. The secret on the kale chips is you do not want to dehydrate like the thick stem. So basically I took the dinosaur kale, broke off like the top half. That I'm using for the kale chips, and the bottom half with the thicker stem we're going to use for juice. And we got the dressing on here, and let's see what they taste like. Nice and crispy. Oh my god, what this reminds me of? It reminds me of like a chili dog at the ballpark. It's kind of hot and spicy, got some cayenne in there. Wow, this is completely amazing. I mean, it's reason enough alone to just buy dehydrator so you can make your own kale chips. and save tons of money, but more importantly, get you and your family to eat healthier. So far, so good. The Aroma 6-tray Professional Food Dehydrator is working well for me. And if you are looking for a lower cost, solid investment in a food dehydrator, I could recommend it at this time because it does have a full 5-year warranty. And so far, it's worked great for me. So if you're interested in purchasing this food dehydrator, you're going to want to visit us at discountjuicers.com. Once again, my name is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Be sure to visit discountjuicers.com/YouTube for special promotional offers for our YouTube visitors. Alright, this is John Kohler with discountjuicers.com. Today we have another exciting episode for you, and what we're doing today is we're going to share with you guys the top 6 reasons why juicing is definitely better than blending. You know, I have made videos on this topic